how to put this. Um, Laurel K. Hamilton shouldn't have changed Anita Blake to fit into some other cubby hole or in a different kind of setting or setup. Because the original Anita Blake, and I don't mean original as in like, oh yeah, 100% .tm idea original, but as in what Anita Blake was initially set up as was popcorn level, fun, mystery kind of set in urban fantasy. Um, and then what she eventually turned into was erotica and really badly written softcore porn and everything else on the sun. In fact, Anita Blake is the reason why I really get turned off by fully written out sex scenes. It's like, um, wow. That sounds so mechanical that it's like you're putting a box together. Hmm. Again, I cracked up a whole hell of a lot trying to do, find the sample, and at least one of the books had a sample fairly early on of like, wow, this is in no way any kind of sensual or even fun to look at. This is just a full-on train wreck. When you have a character that's supposed to be something initially, like their basic setup, maybe their personality, their morals, their ethics, that sort of thing, and then you make a complete 360 on them, like midway through a series, it's like what are you doing? No. See, the thing is, readers wouldn't have been upset with Laurel K. Hamilton had she been like, okay, I'm going to take a break from Anita for a while, and then I'm going to just do this pure smut series over here. If she had just left Anita as is and then, thought of a way to, keep the story going or even say end the story, give it a natural tapering off point because sometimes the series can get too long in the tooth. And it's like, ooh boy, that's also, yeah. You have to have a firm beginning, middle, and end, even with the ongoing series. Because not even all serials last forever and ever. The Martian had its stopping point. Even the Worm guy had his stopping point, which people still want him to put out book formats of it. So I guess I kind of understand that because you can bring the story along with you. Say like if you're away from the computer, that's understandable. But to get back more on the example of Nita Blake, I'll also link it below because he had a pretty good point with his article here. Let me scroll. Let's see. I'll link Rawls' her romance as feminine heroism below with this thing because it does make a good point. It's like it's become something of an embarrassment for a woman to be like, I want to support my family or my husband or my kids, which I kind of like, kind of put a pinpoint on this even with Uplift Protocol. And I'm even going to do a compare and contrast, with how Eliza's relationship's going to go with Lorraine versus a more traditional one. Because I just felt like doing it. But it's also, you have to have kind of a compare and contrast sometimes with certain things to see, like, it's okay to want characters to be married and genuinely support each other. That's not a bad thing to have in writing because it's a lot more rare nowadays. I mean, when you see so many characters set up, it just happens just like what happened with Anita. Initially, the first few books, Anita was planning out, she was going to marry Richard and stay with him in spite of him being a werewolf. And Richard's character was initially absolute like sunbeam in terms of that setting. Like it could be a very horrific setting in some ways, but Richard brought a sense of balance and normalcy to Anita's really messed up job half the time. I mean, it made the characters genuinely likable. And then, when Laurel K. Hamilton legit divorced her first husband, who Richard was based off of, that's when the books really started spiraling downward. and then of course she married her fan club president, who became the stand-in for Mika. It's just, yeah. Oh boy. Sometimes what you don't want to put so much of yourself into one character where the character does legitimately become a stand-in. Like I would say, yeah, with Eliza, I put in a lot of my more goofy pun, like some general Florida woman craziness into Eliza. Uh, but I also put aspects of myself into a whole lot of other characters and other people I know. Um, the biggest thing is don't become so attached to one character that it becomes a stand-in for yourself. At least this is just my opinion, because then you won't be able to be like, okay, I have to go over here and do this for the story. But then it'll, because if you can't detach yourself enough, you will become Anita Blake, the train wreck that is the Anita Blake series. And I don't want to see that happen to people. I mean, even in the beginning, when I still had hope that Laurel K. Hamilton would get back on track, I was like, man, like what's happening? Where it's this thing has a complete rug shift of what this series is about, and then her own characters were being undermined from their previous characterizations. It's like, oh my god, what the hell? Everybody's become Laurel K. Hamilton's kind of like soapbox piece about whatever ideas she has, like in terms of propaganda and other things. It's like oh my god, man. Um, the, like shoot that. The biggest thing for me, like even writing Eliza and Lorraine's relationship, since it's not something that comes to me like naturally, I take a look at how some same-sex relationships developed where it felt more mature, and in terms of like not just like, oh, wham bam, thank you ma'am, they're into gays with each other or something. So I took a look at stuff like Xena and everything else where it's like you have these fully realized characters that have their virtues and a few of their flaws, but still, damn, like Xena show, it basically that's one of the few villains to heroes kind of redemption arc series that I truly enjoy, because Xena really does become an actual aspirational, cardinal virtue kind of hero. It takes a little bit, and Gabrielle helped her along that path. But even at one point, Xena has to help get Gabrielle out of a bind in terms of falling too deep into her own vices and everything. So that's one negative to positive arc that I definitely full heartedly say people go watch the show, see what you think. It has just enough camp, just enough serious, just enough fun to keep you engaged. And I mean, it does have kind of a downer ending at the end, but it's not nearly as bad as what most downer endings are nowadays. Plus, some other episodes gave the hint that Xena and Gabrielle keep reincarnation. They reincarnate and find each other over and over again. So there is some more positive aspects to that. Um, but yeah, it's just don't pull the rug out from under your reader. Like if you say like I'm doing my Uplift Protocol, but all of a sudden I change it into like Sword and Planet. It's like, but it didn't start off as a Sword and Planet, so why are you changing it there? That's the reason why. Like even what some people are doing with wider ranging indie series, like even Aeon 14 and others, like some section of the series will be like, this is more space opera. This one over here is more kind of like mystery thriller. This one over here has a more of a Ghost in the Shell feeling. It's like, cause make sub series within your setting then, if you want to do that, but make side characters that fit that setting rather. Yeah, say like Anita was the main person in Anita Blake before everything changed, but Laurel K. Hamilton was having whatever issues happen. then make a side series to work out through those issues with a completely different set of characters, but in the same setting. Maybe make you know, she should have probably worked more on that Mary Gentry thing, to get more stuff out of her. But yeah, like just again, if you want to work within your same setting, get a different set of characters all together, and they go on different set of adventures or something. Or like I've been saying before, just create a whole new setting and then go off the walls with that. It looks like, if I had to guess, half the floating ad books out there are probably written by men, and they're probably doing it, to get a little bit of fun money on the side, because that stuff is selling like hotcakes. You can't even turn a corner without bumping into one of those damn books. I just say, it's like, yeah, it just reader expectations. It's important for, even for a longer running series. If you are like space opera, stay space opera, finish your story, then move on to another setting. Or if you get stuck on one setting, take a break from that setting for a while and move on to another set of books and write those instead until you get the creative juices to go back to the other one. I mean, it's kind of like how I skip around sometimes with issues in Uplift Protocol. Excuse me. Woo! Again with the allergies. Okay, I had to clear myself out. Oh boy. But yeah. Mm-hmm. The most readers will follow writers they like from series to series, different genre, different settings. If they end up, finding something they really like within their wheelhouse with that writer, then they're more likely to give you a chance on other things. I mean, hell, I'm looking at more closely at the oh god, my brain's not working because allergies. But yeah, the Night Terror books, which his pen name was Mia Archer, but he's actually a guy. But I'm looking at that; it has more of a sensual bent with some things, but he doesn't go full on like on the page like IKEA porn. That's the difference. Like some old style romances that I genuinely did enjoy, especially in my 20s, they would showcase like these characters legitimately cared for each other, and everybody wasn't hopping from one bed to the next in empty relationships. It's like Jesus, because even the Trekker comic doesn't have that. Like Mercy St. Clair has a hard time trusting people, but what she does, it's like something to behold. It's like, wow, like damn, man. He does romance in a much more traditional sense in terms of the two characters connect and they carry through with a whole entire commitment, even if say Mercy didn't feel quite as the same. Like she felt for the guy and she loved him for who he was, but she didn't feel like she could completely connect with him because of what her job was. Because being a Trekker probably, from the looks of it, like because I've been rereading everything since I got the hardback in, you have to have a sense of disconnect in order to keep doing your job and get these bounties and deal with these outrageous situations where you could, at the flip of a switch, easily die. Um, and you know what? Trekker's a good case of where the characters believe they're imperiled, and they usually are. But my sense of tension from that, like, how will Mercy get out of this time? That sort of thing. So I guess, yeah, this lovely rambly kind of reader and topic thing is, if you have a central character, no matter if they're negative, flat, or positive arc, whatever was their core, it should change over time sometimes, but for the most part, what makes that character tick shouldn't go from urban fantasy to erotica. You shouldn't completely do a heel face turn and then suddenly this character goes from somebody that's a more monogamous to like, I'm gonna just fuck everything under the sun. Uh, because that to me just is like, if you seriously, if you're gonna do that, just make another goddamn book series. Don't throw your characters into a windmill just because you're having personal issues. And I'll even say this for myself: like, if I'm having like some sort of hold up, and I've erased lines, you know, because I was putting stuff on to Hillary every once in a while when I was in an extremely bad mood that was even out of character for that character. So I would even hell that even happened to me when I was doing some of Lorraine's lines. Like it's like no, I gotta erase this. I gotta come at this. Like here's the character's page. Here's some of their primary stuff. Stick to that. And then depending on what events happen later, their attitudes and some things might shift over time, but it won't be like a night and day derailing. You know, do your best not to derail yourself. Guess that's my other 2 cents for today. Have a good day, everybody.